Hello and welcome to Bits Play Games! The Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct is right around the corner on April 2nd. So in this video, I wanted to go over some of my hopes and some of my expectations for this Direct. So let's jump in. The last we heard anything about the Nintendo Switch 2 was on January 16th when Nintendo released a reveal video for it. During this video, we pretty much learned that the Switch 2 is going to look like a larger Switch. It's going to be called the Switch 2. It's going to have magnetic Joy-Cons. The Joy-Cons are going to serve some kind of mouse function, and it's going to be backwards compatible with most Nintendo Switch games. And oh yeah, there's a new Mario Kart coming to it. At the end of the video, they announced that there's going to be a whole Nintendo Direct on April 2nd, all focused on the Switch 2. And we're pretty much here, and it's been a long wait. I have a lot of hopes for what we see in this Switch 2 Nintendo Direct, some of which are probably more likely than others. First of all, I think we can almost guarantee that we'll at least get a release date or a release window for the system, along with the price. I've heard some rumors about a May release, but I'm thinking June or a summer release window is more likely. I'm really thinking that the price for the system is going to be $400. I just think that's a reasonable price point for the Switch successor. If they go any higher, I think we're gonna have a situation where they release different models at the same time, like an LCD version and an OLED version, but I don't really see Nintendo doing that right away. I do, however, think that Nintendo will have some different color options for the Switch 2 at launch. The announcement video showed off a black Switch 2 and black Joy-Cons. They had some splashes of color though, with the left Joy-Con having blue underneath the analog stick and on the part of the Joy-Con that connects to the system, along with the connection port of the left side of the Switch being blue as well. The right side had color in all the same places except it was red instead of blue. I personally like how it looks. I think it distinguishes itself from the Switch 1, and it makes the console look a little more modern without being boring. I do have my concerns though. I'm worried that because they have the matching color on the inside of the Switch, it might limit what combinations and variations of Joy-Cons they'll do in the future. I guess the inside color of the connector ports on the Switch 2 doesn't really need to match the Joy-Con, but I know that would bother some people, including me. My prediction is that Nintendo will do the all-black edition they showed in the announcement video, and they will do an all-white version with the same colors, and I think that would look pretty cool actually. So I think the bulk of this Direct is going to be going over the new functionality of the Switch 2 and going over the UI and the new features it brings. We pretty much already know about the mouse functionality the Joy-Cons will have, so I'm pretty sure they'll go over that a decent amount. I'm expecting them to show some third-party games like Civilization or Diablo to show it off. They'll probably also show some functionality with Switch 1 games like Super Mario Maker 2, because I definitely use it for that. And who knows, maybe they'll surprise us and show it being used with a game like Baldur's Gate 3, which would be a huge third-party addition for the Switch 2. The only other big functionality I could see them going over is that highly debated C button we saw in all the leaks, and the one Nintendo conveniently had missing the C for in the announcement trailer. Now, in my Switch 2 prediction video, before I even knew about the new C button, I predicted that the Switch 2 would have the ability to use the system in handheld mode while casting it to your TV through the dock, so you could use the Switch 2's screen as a second screen. I still believe that this will be a feature, and this is what the C button will be used for. I think this casting button will be shown off a lot in the Direct, showing a highlight reel of new and old games utilizing the two-screen function. I think they'll also show us some other uses for it, like playing split screen with one person using the TV and the other person using the Switch screen, just like they did with the Wii U. Personally, for the Switch 2, I was just fine having a more powerful Switch, but I know that even if Nintendo mostly goes that direction, they will still do some kind of feature to make it stand out. And even though using the Joy-Con as a mouse is cool, I don't think Nintendo will have that as its biggest new feature on their console. The cast button would really open up some different possibilities that were not available on the Switch 1. I can see Nintendo ending this segment announcing the Nintendo DS app for the Nintendo Switch Online, which I'd be really excited for. I don't think Nintendo will spend quite as much time on the UI of the Switch 2, but I expect them to hit the main points and features. It feels really sad to say in 2025, but I'm hoping one of the first things we see with the UI is there is a theme being used. I really miss the personalization you got from themes on the 3DS, so I really hope they bring that back for the Switch too. Right there with themes, I think folders is a long overdue feature, so I'm really open for that as well. I expect the UI to be minimal, similar to the Switch 1, but just a little bit more going on. I think Nintendo will show off a revamped Nintendo Switch Online app that really streamlines the legacy console app experience. I'm really hoping that Nintendo has a better setup for interacting with friends, but I won't hold my breath. One of my favorite things about getting a new system is the UI. I grew to love the Switch UI even though I have my complaints, so I'm really excited to see what improvements they make for the Switch 2. The last few things I believe Nintendo will touch on during this Direct are details on backwards compatibility, resolution capabilities, and some new game announcements. I'm thinking they'll just reiterate that it's mostly backwards compatible and explain the type of games that won't work on it, like games similar to Ring Fit or Labo. I think we'll also get some more information on how certain Switch 1 games will get performance updates and potentially feature updates that will work with the Switch 2's new features. Pretty much for resolution, I'm expecting at least an option for 1080p in handheld, but also a lower battery use option using 720p. Docked, I think they will do some kind of 4K upscaling for certain games, along with a frame rate increase while docked. I think there's a good chance we'll see something similar to this. Like I said before, I don't think games will be the main focus for this Direct, but I do think they will show some games, most of which will probably be launch titles. Of course, I could see Nintendo following the same strategy as they did with the Switch 1, having a must-have first-party game ready for launch. And with Tears of the Kingdom being pretty recent, I don't think it's gonna be a Zelda game, but a new 3D Mario game. I don't think they're gonna show much of it since they'll probably save it for a separate Direct closer to launch, but we're gonna get enough to really get us talking about it. Outside of Mario, they'll probably show some big third-party games. I'm guessing Baldur's Gate 3, a Call of Duty, and Elden Ring. If that's the case, my wallet's gonna be hurting at launch. The Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct is on April 2nd, and I can't wait to get a closer look at Nintendo's next generation console. Please let me know in the comments what you think's gonna be in this Direct, and if you're watching it after the Direct, let me know what you thought about the announcements. I'll be streaming the Direct, so make sure you stop by if you're free. But anyway guys, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!